at this moment, it's very difficult to get joy within, because within ourselves, if you begin to look, we have a huge fear and sort of tremendous anxiety and unhappiness and irritations. So each one of them within ourselves, is it capable of giving a joy? The answers will be no, 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 right? So I just got back from Holland about a few days ago. When you get to the airport and you get all these little forms to fill, and it says, did you have animal product? Do you have this thing? Do you have that thing? Do you have more than $10,000 cash? Do you have this? Do you have that? You've been to farm? You just said no, 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 no. So that's reminded me, because when you started looking through what we have within ourselves, then all this you get. And each one of them are capable of giving joy. The answer will be a no. From that beginning to the end, you make one little thing and that a big no. That's what it is. So what do we do? And I was just sitting there and listening and the meditations that you are doing. So I saw so I sort of heard that meditations and that you are doing, focusing, seeing sort of more physically, sort of, so breathe in, breathe out, and focus, and that's what you did about 10 minutes ago, 5-10 minutes ago, right? Am I right? Right, okay. Looking at a very strange way. Maybe I thought I was living in a different world. So that's what you did. So does that help you to bring a joy within you? Most probably not. It may contribute and lead towards something, but it's not going to bring joy within you. So then, what do you need? I think the change that you have to take place. You have to do the change. We have to borrow from the Mr. Obama's election campaign speech about 3 or 4 years ago we held. We need to change. And you and I'll go and change history or change whatever. So I think you need to borrow that, and then you do change within ourselves. Change within ourselves, look at the fear within us. And do you want to maintain that fear within us, or you want to change it? You want to change it. So the answer will be yes, you do need. I do want to change, and I do not want to maintain the fear as we have right now. There are some fears are, this is very funny. Some fears are useful. Honestly, people don't like fear, so don't want to be afraid. And the people, really, a lot of people are against fear, and rightly so. People don't want fear. That's very true. But there are some fears are useful. So if you're walking downtown Detroit at the middle of the night saying, I'm fearless, somebody may come and hit you at the back, certainly, and that fearless will not help at all. And instead, if you are a little cautious, whether you call it fear or not, awareness and a little cautious, it will be helpful. Or similarly, yeah, all right, I'm picking up few pops here and there, and it is okay, but if I do too much, it will damage me. A little cautious fear will be helpful for long run. There are certain fears are awareness, fear, learning. You may not call it fear, more cautious. I sort of intend to put under the category of fear here anyway. And that is useful. Useful. And traditionally, Tibetan Buddhist masters, they maintain the fear against, they maintain the fear for the non-virtuous. Non-virtuous. There is a story. I don't know, people don't talk much about that story, but that is interesting. I don't know about for you people, but for Tibetans, it is interesting. During the 5th Dalai Lama, 5th is, we call it Great 5th, because that is in the 1600 and the 1642, the former, I don't know whether it's the former or the old Tibetan government was formed by the 5th Dalai Lama in 1642. So 6 is, the 5th is referred as Great 5th. So people have a great respect and all this. And particularly present, the 14th Dalai Lama really has a tremendous tremendous interest and desire to follow the footstep of the 5th Dalai Lama, and admiration, to all this, among all these Dalai Lamas, and he had a very strong, and so 5th is very well known. So during the 5th Dalai Lama period, there is a very highly developed spiritual practitioner who always challenging the 5th Dalai Lama, who have a tremendous amount of faith and respect in his deep heart to 5th Dalai Lama. But he always challenged 5th Dalai Lama publicly or anywhere, any occasion where there are gatherings. 5th Dalai Lama also had a respect to that person. At the same time, he's irritating and the difficult one. And then there's this is a little old story. So they said there's protectors who protecting, and they become their job not to harm that yogi. They may or may not be able to harm, but they don't want to harm. But yet they cause enough trouble for him to be cautious. And so they're trying to do anything they could. And so they couldn't do much. He's a great person himself, no matter how powerful those protectors are may be, but couldn't do much. So one day, one of these protectors told Fifth Dalai Lama, when you have a conversation with him, just ask him what he's afraid of it. What he's afraid of it. Then I can do something, whatever he's afraid of it. And so then he came to visit Fifth Dalai Lama, and Fifth Dalai Lama said, by the way, what are you afraid of it? And he said, straightforward, he said, Digpa, 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 nothing but Digpa. Digpa means non-virtuous. But Digpa also means in Tibetan language, non-virtuous as well as Scorpios. Scorpios. So certainly one of those little ghost type of thing, and manifested himself in the huge Scorpio while he's sitting and meditating. And he had a shock, and suddenly he said, what is this? And says, oh, I know, they mistook the Digpa for Digpa. So he picked up the Scorpio from the tail and started shaking and put it inside his shoe and tied the shoelace, and then he somehow, sort of magical, mystical power control that cannot get out of the shoe until he let it go. So that fear for Digpa is a very commonly used by the earlier Tibetan practitioners, and as well as in India too. We all should be afraid of Digpa, and not necessarily Scorpio. And because the result of this Digpa or non-virtuous are really sort of humongous. And so that's why we should be afraid of it. Don't go nearby, sort of avoid it. So when you be able to that sort of fear within us is sometimes useful. Other than that, or the fear that what we have had, that I'll be lonely, I will be left out, I'll be disgraced, I will be poor, and I will get no food, I will get no help, and all that type of fear are meaningless. Meaningless. Yes, you have to be aware. If you don't eat properly, you get sick. If you count that as a fear, that's again useful part of the fear and not a useless part of the fear. But the fear that you can do nothing, but unnecessarily afraid, not only afraid, but also so much so that sometimes you can't even breathe. And going to that level is very useless. And as we see the other people doing it, it's very easy for us to understand that it's useless and not good and should not. But when it comes on ourselves, it's not easy. it becomes difficult. We submit ourselves to this. That's we see, we do ourselves all the time. So that has to be changed. The fear what we used earlier, what we have it, cautious earlier, taking precaution is a useful fear. That is changing the fear can do nothing is changing to a fear that can do something. That taking precaution and doing something is helpful.